We are here at this conference talking about next generation ERGs, and that is the business that DBP is in. We're always looking for the next generation of everything that's working. What's working, let's make it better. Let's optimize it, let's improve it, let's take it right into the next generation that is its destiny. But I always like to remember the past, and not just the past, but the original purpose of things, because I think it's equally important to see not just where we're going, but where we've been. And to me, the foundational purpose of ERGs, employee networks, whatever we call them, the foundational purpose is to create community among employees in our workforces who might not feel that community in the general aspect of their workplace.
Those of us who are champions of diversity have been declaring this for quite a while, that the demographic tsunami, of cultural change in terms of diversity inclusion and all the beautiful ways in which diversity manifests itself in a room like this, it's been coming. It's been there, and now that wave is cresting in big waves, is hitting the shores, and those who were asleep at the beach thinking that things were going to be staying the same for a long time in terms of talent are waking up soaking wet, and they weren't ready for it. And suddenly they're looking at you all and saying, oh yeah, that diversity thing you've been talking to us about, I really need to know more about it.
If I asked you for your BRG strategy and you said, here are the 5 things we're going to do, that better somehow tie into the official business strategy of your company. If you can't make that connection, you need to wash that away. That's a waste of time, okay? Each of you as BRG leaders have the power to make this happen. Great ideas are nice, but if you don't have the infrastructure, don't do it. Don't underestimate the power of creating that infrastructure. You also have to think how you would measure this stuff. If a person cannot tell you in a nanosecond how they're going to measure it, just walk away. Tell them to come back when they're really ready, because they're just going to waste your time. And if you have time on your hands, that's great, but I don't have time on my hands. I spent a lot of time with my team looking at what is our business strategy? What is JP Morgan Chase's business strategy? And there were 5 strategic positions that Jamie Dimon put on the board. And one of the ones that he put on the board says international expansion. It's okay, that means we want to be more relevant in some of our regions, right? We want to be more relevant in Asia and maybe in EMEA, maybe in Latin America. And if you break that down, that means we want to actually make money in those places. So how can we take the diversity function and the BRGs as a community of 36,000 people to help the firm do that, right? And maybe we can't open up new markets, but maybe we can help them identify local talent, right? So you have to figure out how can you connect to 1 or 2 of those business objectives that your CEO is paying attention to every single day. And the minute when you speak to a senior manager, you can make that connection, you've got them. Because now they realize, like that FA, oh shoot, I know how I can get it done. I can use those people, right? So I think sometimes we get caught up with the love of the BRG. I'm like, no, there's no love. No more love. It's not kumbaya, none of this nonsense. If you want to be relevant, you got to be able to show that if the firm took your BRG away, somebody would be very upset. And unless you get that, it's just you and the BRG people.
I've been working in diversity and inclusion for almost 15 years now, and I will say that many of my opportunities to network and to meet my peers at other companies have happened at NALC. So I'm really appreciative to Diversity Best Practices for this opportunity, and I think that the event is growing every year, which means there's more and more best practices and leading practices that we are learning from each other, and it's just a lot of fun here too.
The one thing that I take away from a session that I attended this morning was the concept of looking at our employee resource groups more as multidimensional groups rather than unidimensional. So showing up as a holistic person, not just as an African American or a Latino Hispanic or an LGBT person, but really showing up as the sort of multidimensional people that we are, and what that brings to the table for our businesses and for our employee resource groups. So that would be my major takeaway.
It's really important for us to attend NALC because it's such an excellent professional development opportunity. At Prudential, we consider our business resource groups prime talent for the organization. And because of that, we try to give them professional development exposure that will make them the best employees possible and give them the tools they need to lead the organizations they lead.
If I had to say what are the several things that people should leave with after this conference, especially after my remarks, I would say immediately they should figure out what are the business objectives of the firm that they work for and how do those business objectives match what they're doing with the business resource groups. The second thing I would say is, what is the infrastructure that they set up for these groups to actually operate? Do they have senior leaders on them? Are they high potential people? Do they have enough senior support and that sort of thing? And the third thing, which is more important, is how are they going to measure this stuff? If they were asked by the board of directors, what did you do with the money that we gave you? You have these many chapters and these many members. What's the ROI?